Get the hell out of the car, you black bitch. It's going to be made clear that you don't belong in this world. Scum. The officer yelled as he shot the black woman in front of her daughter, unaware of who he was messing with, and the consequences that would follow. IT started that warm afternoon in a quiet suburban neighborhood of Arlington, Virginia. The light at the corner flashed yellow as a worn silver sedan rolled forward. Inside, Captain Naomi Harris adjusted her uniform seatbelt, her collar sharp, brass pins glinting in the sun. "Mom, why is that cop staring at us?" her 10-year-old daughter, Lila, asked from the back seat. Naomi's jaw tightened. She'd seen that look before, cold, measuring, like she was already guilty. Moments later, red and blue lights flared in her mirror. The patrol car cut her off and skidded to a stop. Officer Brett Mallory, tall, pale, and smirking, approached with his hand on his holster. "Window. Now," he ordered. "Is there a problem, officer?" Naomi asked evenly. "Where'd you get that uniform?" His tone dripped suspicion. "I earned it. It's mine. We'll see." Out of the vehicle, Lila's voice cracked. "Mom, don't. It's okay, sweetheart." Naomi stepped out, keeping her hands visible. Mallory leaned close, his whisper carrying to the car. "We don't tolerate people like you here. People like me? You know damn well." His grip on his weapon tightened. Naomi stepped back. He barked, "Stay by the car. Or are you deaf on top of everything else?" He shoved her shoulder. "You have no right to." "I have every right." He pressed closer. Lila's face was pale behind the glass. Mallory's hand clamped onto Naomi's arm. "Look at me when I'm talking to you, you rude bitch." "Let go." "What? Gonna pull rank?" "That's just a costume." Naomi's muscles coiled, but she held back. "Take off the jacket," he ordered. "You have no reason. My reason is I don't want you breathing my air." He slammed her onto the hood. The metal burned against her uniform. Lila's sobs filled the air. "Here on my street, you're nobody," Mallory hissed. "Learn it, or you leave in a body bag." "Mom." Lila pounded the window. "Shut that kid up, or I will." Naomi froze. Then his words cut through her like a blade. "After I'm done with you, I'm coming for her." Her vision tunneled. She wrenched free with a burst of strength. "Say that again, coward." Mallory stepped back, hand going for his gun. "You just made your last mistake. You're not touching her." He drew, pointing straight at her. "Stay where you are." Neighbors appeared, phones recording, voices shouting. "Let her go." Mallory didn't glance at them. "Last chance." "Shoot," Naomi dared. The crack of the gunshot split the air. Lila's scream tore through the street as Naomi crumpled, blood seeping into the asphalt. "Mom." Lila bolted to her, pressing on the wound with trembling hands. "You deserve that," Mallory muttered before walking calmly back to his cruiser and driving off. Neighbors rushed in. "Call an ambulance." Within minutes, sirens screamed closer. Paramedics lifted Naomi onto a stretcher, cutting open her uniform to reach the wound. "You're riding with her, kid," one told Lila, ushering her into the ambulance. The vehicle sped off toward Arlington General, weaving through traffic. Naomi's breathing was shallow. The heart monitor beeped unevenly. Then, at an intersection, a black SUV screeched to a stop in front of them. Its rear doors flew open, and a tall man in a dark suit climbed into the ambulance without hesitation. His hair was graying, his expression sharp. "Change the route," he ordered, handing the lead medic a folder. "Sir, protocol." "There is no protocol." His voice was cold steel. Lila stared at him. He looked at Naomi as if he'd known her for years. The ambulance made a sudden U-turn. Naomi's lips moved faintly, as if she recognized him. Outside, the city blurred past. Inside, the man leaned closer to the medic. "If we don't get her to the safe house in 20 minutes, she's dead." "Safe house," Lila whispered. The man glanced at her, his jaw tight. "Your mom hasn't told you everything." The siren wailed louder, the clock ticking down. The siren kept sounding, but now it wasn't heading to the usual hospital. It was heading somewhere none of the witnesses on the street could have imagined. The ambulance sped through the rain-slicked streets of Arlington, Virginia, but no longer toward Arlington General. Lila stared out the back window, watching familiar buildings fade into the distance. "Where are you taking her?" she asked, her voice trembling. The man in the dark jacket, sitting across from her mother's stretcher, locked eyes with her. Somewhere she'll be taken care of better. One paramedic glanced at the other. We can't just go into St. Mary's without. You have authorization now. The man cut in, flashing a document with an official seal. The paramedics fell silent. From this point forward, she's my responsibility. The only sounds were the steady wail of the siren and the uneven beeping of the heart monitor. Naomi Harris lay still, her skin pale, blood seeping slowly through the bandage on her side. When they arrived, the building didn't look like any hospital Lila had ever seen. A security gate lifted as they approached. The ambulance rolled up to glass doors guarded by 2 armed officers. A medical team in green scrubs was already waiting. West Wing, or 3, a female doctor commanded without looking at the paramedics. Her focus was entirely on Naomi. As they wheeled her mother away, a man in a suit approached the one in the dark jacket. Washington's been informed. Yes, the man replied. Give me photos of the scene and update me the second anything changes. Lila sat in a corner of the observation room, knees drawn to her chest, eyes swollen from crying. She couldn't look away from the door her mother had disappeared behind. The man in the suit handed over a thick folder. The shooter's name is Brett Mallory, 32. 3 prior complaints, abuse of authority, racial misconduct. All dismissed. The man in the dark jacket's expression hardened. Not this time. I want every unit tracking him. If he crosses a county line, I'll know before he does. The press is circling, the suited man warned. If they find out he shot a lieutenant colonel, a nurse emerged, her voice steady. She's conscious. She's asking for her daughter. Lila leapt from her seat and followed the nurse into a small, sterile room. Naomi lay in the bed, for dripping beside her, a thick bandage wrapping her torso. Her tired eyes lit faintly when she saw her daughter. Come here. Lila rushed forward, gripping her mother's hand. Naomi's eyes closed briefly, as if the touch grounded her. For a moment, the chaos outside the room faded away. By nightfall, rain streaked the streets. Patrol radios crackled with one repeated order: target located. Maintain visual. Do not engage until backup arrives. In her room, Naomi sat straighter despite the pain, stroking Lila's hair. The man in the dark jacket entered. We got him. On the outskirts of a rundown motel, blinding floodlights and a ring of squad cars cut off all exits. Brett Mallory stepped out slowly, his uniform damp, hands raised. On the ground, a tactical agent barked. Mallory dropped to his knees. Cuffs clicked around his wrists, his face pressed into the wet pavement. You just buried yourself, one officer muttered. Hours later, footage of the arrest played on the hospital TV. Lila watched silently before leaning into her mother's arm. It's over now. He won't ever touch us again. The man in the dark jacket stood nearby, ending a call. Washington is following every detail. This won't be buried. Naomi's voice was quiet but firm. This isn't for me. It's for her. She squeezed Lila's hand, but then the man's phone buzzed again. He read the message, his jaw tightening. They found something in his car, another list. Names, dates, addresses. Naomi's eyes narrowed. Whose names? Some are in this building, he replied. Security was immediately alerted. Officers swept the hallways while the rain battered the windows. 10 minutes later, they corner a man in maintenance overalls in the north wing, armed, wearing gloves, and carrying a copy of the same list. He was here to finish what Mallory started. The man in the dark jacket said grimly. The suspect was restrained, and the building was locked down. The code black was lifted an hour later. By dawn, Naomi was stable. Mallory and his accomplice were in federal custody, facing charges ranging from attempted murder to conspiracy. The list was linked to a covert network targeting whistleblowers. Naomi had been one of their primary marks after testifying in a corruption case. In the quiet of her hospital room, Naomi held Lila close. It's really over now, she whispered. The man in the dark jacket stood at the doorway, his voice softer than before. You're safe, both of you. For the first time in days, Lila allowed herself to believe it. Outside, the morning sun broke through the clouds over Arlington. The streets were still wet, but the storm had passed.